Welcome to InjuryGuru.com. I'm Carla Schimmelfinnig, registered physical therapist. And the common question I'd like to tackle this week is a question that I get asked often. And the question is, should I see my doctor for this pain that I'm having? Like I said, this is a question that I get asked often. And sometimes when I see someone who asks me that question, I can clearly see that they're in a lot of pain, they're in some severe pain, or something just doesn't look right. And I can tell those people, yes, you definitely need to see the doctor. Other times, I like to go through a series of questions, and I can determine from that series of questions whether they really do need to see their doctor, or is there something that they can try on their own to see if this gets better? Do they need to see a physical therapist? Can they use some ice and rest and Advil? So there's just a series of questions. The first question I always like to ask is, where is your pain located? Most of the time I find that out as they're asking the question, because they'll come up to me holding their shoulder or their low back or a hip and tell me, I'm having this shoulder pain, what should I do? The next question I like to ask is, how long have you been having this pain? Has it been going on for, just a few days? Is it from a recent injury? Or have you been having this longer than that? Another question I like to ask is, how would you rate that pain on a scale of 0 to 10? 0 being nothing. 10, you would take yourself to the emergency room. You'd drive yourself there. So I always like to know, what would they rate that pain? Another question is, what does that pain feel like? Is it a stabbing, sharp type of pain, or is it a dull, throbbing type of pain? I like to know if that pain is constant. Is it there all the time, or does it come and go depending on what you do? And two last questions are, what have you done for this pain? So have you tried resting and ice and Advil, other medication? Have you tried some exercises, or have you been to physical therapy? The last question I always like to know, and I've learned to ask this question over time, but this one's really important, is this pain keeping you from sleep, or does this pain wake you while you're sleeping? So based on the answers to those questions, I can generally tell someone whether I think they need to see the doctor. So if you are having pain, whether it's a constant or intermittent pain, but it's pain that you would rate at a 6 or 7 or higher on that pain scale of 0 to 10. If your pain is keeping you from sleeping, or it wakes you at night, if you have a joint or a body part that just doesn't look right, then definitely you need to see your doctor. If you would say that no matter what you do, this pain just does not change, it doesn't get better, whether you rest or use ice or medication. So if you would answer yes to most of those questions, then you definitely need to listen to your body and give your doctor a call. You need to see your doctor, let your doctor evaluate what's going on so that this doesn't just get worse, and just give your doctor a call. A lot of times people think that it will just go away, or they just don't want to bother their doctor. And I think most people are surprised to learn that most of the time your doctor would say they would rather you let them know. They don't want it to just get worse and worse. And depending on the problem, a lot of times it doesn't just go away, and it can get worse. So, just do yourself a favor and give your doctor a call. Now, I have a couple stories for you, because I just love stories, and I think it's helpful sometimes for you to hear stories from others, and just helps you determine and analyze what you're going through. So my first story is about a friend of mine, a 37-year-old female. She came to me one day and just said that she'd been having some pain. It started along her side and would wrap around to her back, right about her waist level. After answering all my questions, I didn't think it was something that she needed to get right to the doctor for, but I definitely thought it was something that we needed to look at. I was thinking that her back was probably the source of this pain. So I suggested that she come in and see me. She came into the office, and we did just through some thorough questioning and a good physical examination, we were able to determine it was coming from her back. And she was able to perform and do some of the exercises that I have right here on the website for the low back. And good part of the story is she was able to get back to all the work activities she needed to do and her own exercise routine with little to no pain. Another story I have is just about my friend Julie and her son Ryan. Ryan had been at soccer practice and fell and hurt his hand and wrist. And Julie gave me a call the next day and said, could you just take a look at Ryan's hand and wrist for me? She said, I think we might need to go to the doctor, but could you just take a look at it and let me know for sure? So I hear that a lot from people, that they think maybe they should go to the doctor, but they're just not sure. So they came over that night, and I didn't even need to ask Ryan to sit down or touch his hand and wrist. I could see just by looking at this, it had that doesn't look right look to it. So something just did not look right. So I just reassured her that, yeah, she was thinking the right thing, and that definitely he needed to get to see the doctor. So he did, found out that it was fractured and was casted, and he healed up and was back to playing soccer. So my third story and last story, this one just involves my husband, a boat, and a wench. We were, and by wench I mean a tool, not a female, but we were new boat owners all of 7 days, and we had been out on the river nearby and had a great day of boating, but it was time to get that boat back on the trailer. And so my husband asked me to drive the truck that was pulling the trailer, and he needed to be in the back to use that winch to get the boat back on the trailer. So, needless to say, my husband and the winch had a fight, and the winch won. But in the process, it struck him in the forearm and flipped him head over heels, struck him so hard, just flipped him head over heels back into the water. And I saw the whole thing in my rearview mirror, but got out of the truck and really apologized to him because I was driving and it pretty much was my fault. But anyway, after assessing the damage, looking at his arm, I did tell him, I think you have broken your arm. I said it was bent in a place that it just shouldn't be bent. And of course my husband said, well, let's just see what it looks like by the morning. Now, mind you, I've been a therapist for 25 years, and he knows I've seen a lot of these things over the years. So would you be surprised to hear that by the morning it didn't look any better? It was still bent where it shouldn't be bending, and he was in some good pain. So x-rays later that day did reveal a fracture to his forearm and a cast, some ban on his water activities for the rest of the summer, unfortunately. But after all that, he was all healed and back to doing what he needed to do. I share these stories and this information just to help you figure out and just give you some reassurance that when you're having some pain that just doesn't seem to go away, doesn't seem to get better, or you've had an injury and something just doesn't look right, chances are it isn't right. And you just need to listen to your body and get to see your doctor. Let your doctor take a look at it to see what can be done.